Hello, welcome back to another casted game on the Age of Bison YouTube channel. I'm your host, SerSharkDad, and before we get into it, this is a fun one. So here's the context, as I've been made aware. This is a 2v2 on the rank ladder, but it's actually an in-house technically because everybody here is a part of the Sunbros community on our Discord. So a fun little happenstance to occur. So we have Vindian with the red going as Ethiopia. Pistol Pete, famous Pistol Pete, going with France as the purple. On the other side, we have LFS. I'm not going to say all that. For China, sporting the blue, and our resident own caster, Platypus Slayer, with the yellow going France as a France mirror. And I'm joined here today by the Echidna himself, generalSpades, or Bison Master, depending on how you want to refer to him. How's it going? And also, what are you thinking about 2v2s? I'm not a 2v2 expert, but I am excited about this game. So,
I mean, 2v2s are probably my favorite mode, just in terms of the fun that I have playing them. But in-house games are always fun regardless, and the fact that this happens on the rank ladder is even more entertaining. So I'm excited to see exactly what happens. We've been told that there is some non-standard play here, at least in terms of some of the strategies that one of the French players uses. So we'll have to pay attention to see what happens there.
sure, just kind of clicking through. This is one of the things with 2v2s is that you need to pay attention to decks, and you need to. It's hard to keep track of everybody here, but Natsish, I don't know, but this looks standard except for Native Warriors. He doesn't have any other really native cards except Wilderness Warfare here, so this is for...
This is Pete? Yeah.
This is Pete. So, interesting choices. Let's go ahead and let's just keep it within the team. So, Vindian looks like he's going to go with Trinity, 2 villagers and an Abun. Also, nothing terribly crazy here.
I'm not too familiar with Ethiopia. I know Vindi has, Vindi is the resident boomer here. So I'm assuming this is some sort of a boom deck, but I don't really know what.
Yeah, we don't mean that in a generational sense. Vindian is a young man with wife and beautiful kids, but he likes to boom with the civs, and it looks like he's doing some sort of native semi-FI, as is popular with Ethiopia lately. We saw that in the 1v1 tournament actually coming into use. So that's going to be interesting for Platt. Looking over, he's going Ancien Regime. So that's going to give him plenty of different options, technologies, semi-FF if he wants to with some of the Bourbon units, or he can go natives with it. But it looks like a little slightly different deck, but also not crazy. Like, I don't know else. I mean, the only thing is that you have the upgrade cards on each side of this, right? So, yeah. Looks like, I don't know, I guess he has more H4 options. So
yeah, I'm curious to see how this all plays out for sure. What's he aging up with? Quartermaster?
Vindian's going with Sudanese. Oh, we haven't looked at China's deck. Summer Palace. I'm going in Scourge. Step Riders. Yeah, it really just comes down to exactly what you're going to do in your composition, right? Because in a 2v2, you typically pick one unit and you cover your team, your ally.
Yeah, 1 or 2 for sure.
A lot of violence here. Plenty of H4 options. Lots of shipment cards. And this is on current patch, so China's looking pretty healthy. Pistol Pete going with Quartermaster, 400 wood. Pretty standard. He did Market and did get a trade post. Platt also going Quartermaster. Vinian was going Sudanese, like we said. And then he is going Summer Palace. So, interesting. We may get some pretty heavy economic kind of play here, but you never really know. Taking a look over to Vindian now hitting Commerce Age. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he's going to be doing here. Red Sea Wagon's going to go Mountain Monasteries and Native Embassy, so definitely early native play, probably on his part. And also going Castle. So let's see if he places that offensively or defensively, maybe get an idea of what the aggression we're looking at. By the way, we forgot to mention the map, Texas. So the natives here are actually not great, in my opinion. I think you get just basically 2 different kinds of dragoon. Because here you have Apache, right? And then it's going to be like Comanche, right? Apache and Comanche, I believe.
That sounds about right.
But it looks like on a team's map, it looks like just 2 native sites and just both Apache. So I'm wondering what's going to be happening here. Pistol Pete now going with 4 CDB and in addition to 700 wood.
I'm kind of shocked that neither China nor Ethiopia has taken the trade post right in front of their base, to be honest with you. Since it is, I think, safe. I think all the trade posts on this map are safe from being taken by their opponent. Could be wrong.
Vindian doubling down on some of the economic upgrades. Yeah, you would think, maybe especially for Ethiopia. I don't know if China really takes trade posts, but it never hurts. But it looks like they're preparing to get some sort of action going here. He's got his standard army coming out with the Step Riders and the Choconu being produced, and then on Platypus's side, he has got the Royal Musketeers coming out from the Royal Embassy. And so these guys have been kind of making a splash on the ladder lately with the charge pistol attack. So these guys are pretty nice looking. And he's got, what is that? Looks like 8 of them kind of going in. A little bit of action here on the side. Lots of Step Riders here getting in on top of Pistol Pete.
No.
And these CDBs have range resistance, but not melee resistance like standard settlers do, so it's really good to get the melee cav on them. Some Hussar going in and chasing them off. Pound for pound, I believe. Yeah, they're...
Hussar should win.
Yeah, Hussar should win that, but I don't know. It depends on how much mass you produce. And the Scout getting in here to get a snare off, and it looks like one of those are going to go ahead and go down. Pete now with the 20 Vils, now sending in some coin. Looks like maybe he's going to go for the quick little age up after a 5 Hussar start, but we'll see. Now pushing in on the other side, Platt going to go ahead and try to take down this TP. Asking, you shall receive, sir. He did take his trade post, actually.
Yes.
All right, a little bit of action here. Looks like he did have some Dervish, and those Dervish will do pretty well into the Royal Musketeers. Which that interaction's all weird just because, I mean, they do have melee resistance, but Dervish do kind of count as skirms.
Doesn't want to take this engagement. Is free to just kind of sit back and say, hey, I'm here. Maybe force a mistake out of his opponent and to like investing a little bit more in military than maybe he should. So kind of good play, I'd have to say.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, he's backing out, which was smart. I mean, I don't know exactly what he saw, but, you know, definitely that this is a pretty significant mass that he would find that this is going to be wasted into it. And it looks like Vindian is actually going to be doubling down with his unit production, even more Abum coming out. And then he's going to go ahead and get the tablet, which is going to give him some more coin. He's going to come and join his ally here on the other side.
Royal Musketeer have 44 their pistol attack has 44 damage. That is ridiculous.
In an H2, yeah. It is quite a bit of a recovery time to get that back, but it is pretty strong. LFS now going with Porcelain Tower for the H3. Vindian just continuing to double down here with a lot of upgrades, even more units. Looking over at Platt, also H3 coming in, very good timing. Now going with Bishop, which is going to be a little bit different, not Exile Prince, so he's happy to, he feels like he's not going to get a lot of pressure here. Can maybe get that TC out, but he is waiting for this Ville to finish, getting some more Royal Musketeers here. And looking over at Pistol Pete, no age up coming through, 700 coins, so maybe he can, or no, sorry, 600 coins. So I don't know, maybe he can re-macro this. He does have quite a few fills on food.
Wow, yeah, he's fully macroed for food here.
Yeah, he has to try to get, well, I mean, he's producing even more Vills, but it looks like he's trying to get that age up in. Vinian with a pretty significant mass here. They're just going to go ahead and push right past this. The Hussar were able to get on top of those Choconu. They were able to beat out the Step Riders and kill all those Choconu. And so now they are free to push. Platt now halfway through the age up, going over to LFS. He did get his age up in, and now he's going to go ahead and get Imperial Army and Standard Army. And so that would do pretty nicely as long as he can defend himself against the Hussar. who are now trying to get an economic raid here.
Looks like Platt's going to come in on the flank, on the backside, on the south side here with some more Royal Musketeers.
Nice. Gonna go ahead and get out of those Desert Archers. Good job. Very good move on his part.
So Platt seems to be dropping a full Royal Musketeer army. Content just to spam these units from the natives. So we'll...
Now, Platt has become a little bit infamous so far for his rantings in the server about, you know, DE things is what he calls them. So, you know, he mocks kind of like MOBA and how some of the stuff has been kind of just the way in which the balance and some of the things that some of the decisions have been made in previous patches. And you know, he definitely has a lot of ground to stand on that, not criticizing it whatsoever. But I think him is this in a sort of trolling sense of, I'm going to use these new units. You give me Native Embassy in Age 1, I'm going to show you the Royal Musketeers and how they trade really well, even into what is allegedly their counter. And so he's kind of showing that off just now. And it was a smart move for you to call out, because it gave him time to kind of get his mass out of the War Academy and put LFS back on the proper footing. But his score is a little bit lagging behind compared to Vindian and Pistol Pete here. So we're going to have to see what's going to go on.
Pistol Pete. And I am relatively surprised that we haven't seen Pistol Pete with any kind of, well, yes, that and cav raids. He definitely needs to age now with all the res that he has.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's the click, but no cav raids coming out from Pete, which is not on brand for him.
Yeah, they've been kind of keeping the masses together. I'm wondering, clicking through here, Vindian now age 3 with Somalis. Despite more resources in native settlements, trickle more influence. So, if you Shotel.
Is that from the age up? I'm so unfamiliar with Ethiopia.
I believe he trained those. These guys are going to be from the age up.
Okay.
The Somali Isa warriors. Yeah, they're pretty. These guys are pretty nasty. So I mean, Ethiopia is just definitely one of those that's actually you want to kind of get your age 3, you want to get your age 4. You get some pretty nasty power spikes from your age ups, and these cards are, you know, like you said, like a lot of people are not really aware, but you get some. Look at this upgrade. Giskeña and Shotel makes their upgrades cheaper and research faster, and look at that. Basically,
wow.
So definitely going to be doubling down on the comp. Now looking over on the other side, Vet Dragoons here. Let's go ahead and look over at Platt's side.
Are those Royal Dragoons or
no? That's why I was hoping that I was going to see the Royal Dragoons come out, but these are actually Vet Dragoons
with the Musketeers. Yeah, that would.
These are the Royal Dragoons. So now the funny thing about Royal Dragoons is that they're more expensive. Their ranged attack is less slightly, so 26 to 21, and their range is better because you can tell that they're armed with like actual like carbine, but their hand attack is nasty, 26.
Oh, well,
a little raids. There was a raid. I guess we missed it, but Vindian was moving some Shotel, but they got cleaned up pretty quickly. Discipline Kushek now coming in along with some Step Riders, so this is a good cavalry comp. And let's take a look at how this Royal Army's doing. Yeah, see, this 4, even though 3,500 health, not too much, that bombard attack, it makes a difference, you know, and so it's kind of hard to push into Ethiopia with that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. I think whichever team does a better job of keeping their units together and keeping units on their counters is gonna end up winning this fight. So we'll have to pay attention to make sure the micro. It looks like these Dragoons are gonna be chasing off the Hussar, keeping those out of the fight, off all the infantry units. And the skirms are, the skirms are in. They're gonna be. Very good job from Pete in this case. Skirms are going to be.
Yeah, but now the Step Riders are getting in there. Oh man! Oh, but 2 Falconets now coming in. I don't know if he's going to be able to body block for these. He does have the Dragoons here on the side. It was definitely touch and go there, like you said.
Oh, the Dragoon, the Falcons walked a little bit too close, and they're gonna go down, aren't they?
Oh, they do get some shots off. 1 going down and 2 going down really quick. Yeah. Wow.
So they got focused down pretty hard there.
Vindian now choosing for the H4. I don't know how much they're going to get out of this, but
I don't know that I agree with that. be honest with you.
I don't know. The skirmishes is doing pretty deadly. Looks like the Keshiks are now going down. Like you said, it's about keeping them on the counters, and it looks like it's been dancing back and forth. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but they've flipped sides here. I'm pointing at the screen as if people can see me pointing. They flip sides in between here, like but on each side of the trade post, and just trying to kind of outdance the other. And so now those Royal Dragoons just getting barrel to barrel right on top of them, and they're just absolutely.
They're sitting underneath the is that not a palace? What is that?
Just a fort. Yeah, it's the palace.
Fort?
It's the palace.
Is that what it's called technically? So obviously they're going to be sitting there doing the damage to themselves by sitting under that palace versus fighting elsewhere. So a good hold, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a lot of you expect more monocomping, but I mean, China obviously gets automatically various various units in its composition, but there's like each of these teams is kind of like they're almost playing in a 1v1 style, like dragoons, falconets, skirmishers, and then on Vidian's side you do have the Geskenya, which is a heavy infantry musketeer kind of thing, Iso warriors, Neftenya coming in. Oh, look at here, Chengdao with Chokunu with you got.
That's what I do like about
Arquebusiers.
2v2s is it does tend to lean toward more 1v1 style just on bigger maps, and teamwork obviously playing a big factor, versus if you go bigger than that, it tends to be more like monocompy, like you said.
Well, my favorite.
But yeah, you can get like a 4-unit composition if you have all your teammates together, which looks like that seems to be, at the very least, there's 4 units in this mass for team Vindian and Pete here.
Yeah, it's been so fascinating to see so many like various units coming out, and here my favorite guys coming in was the Kersia, just really going to work here, and as well on Platypus's side, he do have the 2 falconets, but he's kind of left those exposed as they were kind of sieging down, and now the Aroma are going to get on top. And these guys are nasty in terms of hand attack and what fast they attack. I mean, these guys are absolutely brutal, but for his credit, he is now able to get here on top. And you're seeing he's got the Kersia right on top of the skirmishers, and he's got the Royal Musketeers firing up at the Dragoons, and it looks like they're going to get that cleaned up.
And the Kurs don't even care.
No, not at all. These guys are absolutely wonderful, and he trained them, and I don't think he shipped them. I think he ended up shipping. I think he just got the falconets. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have them.
Yeah, so he's looks like he's training Kurs right now.
And now they're going to go ahead and get on top of the Neftenya, and those guys are going to go down pretty nicely. Even more Dragoons trying to get in here and trying to slow down this Ke mass, but it's not going to work. Look at these guys now getting into the melee. Oh, it's so nice to see. And Royal Musketeers here still holding their own. This is, again, a heavy infantry musketeer unit, and these guys, look at that, 224 health, looking nice and healthy.
And every time they get that charge attack, they're doing 44 damage.
But let's not underestimate Vidian. He's got 15 Berber allies coming in, and he does have the age 4. He's just going to get a nice pop as long as his partner can hold here. This is going to be looking pretty good. Minutemen now being called in on Pete's side, and he's desperately holding, trying to keep that skirm mass together. But it looks like maybe this is going to be running out of steam here, as the Berber allies are not going to connect. But again, the Royal Musketeers, they can melee with the best of them, and looks like maybe they're going to be able to get some damage off. But we'll take a look. No, it looks like they're going to be going. Ooh, Royal Dragoons now getting into it, but now they're going to be cleaned up as well. Neftenya on each side, skirmishers on the other.
Yeah, I was about to say before all the action went down, the LFS mass was looking mighty thin. He just has, those 5 or so units out on the battlefield, so he's gonna, they're gonna choose to remass.
Whoa.
As, oh my god, all of a sudden everybody's industrial age. Well, LFS is anyways. So that's why his mass was thin, is he wasn't, he was just waiting to get to age 4.
Yeah, we're not getting, what do you guys call it, death ball standards, right? Like, we're not.
Definitely not,
yeah.
so far.
This has been a back and forth game of just nothing but just pure, just pure fighting on each side. It's been very entertaining to watch, and everything has kind of been hanging in the balances. Both these players, both these teams have just kind of been able to hold and push back, but it looks like once again China is going to be able to wear down the opponent, like it just continuing to come at it with a mass. And the question is, can Vindian kind of produce enough to help out his ally here. He doesn't have a lot of units on the field, but he has a lot more.
2 Sebastopol mortars might do the trick, but you got to shoot those on the infantry rather than on the cavalry.
A lot of infrastructure coming in as well. Kursa going to go ahead and get on top of these Sebastopol mortars, and they're going to be caught up on some geometry here.
And there's pikes in the mix too that are going to be sieging those down. 2 Sebastopol mortars going down straight to some, I guess those are some, are those Royal Dragoons or are those Cuirassiers? The yellow ones.
These are Kursa, and then you do have Royal Dragoons over here.
Okay. So they're again going to be pushing into the purple base here. Just saying, stop me if you can. And the Chinese remass looks like there's some units in the back, and I think he's got all his upgrades at this point. Be shocked if he didn't. At least have all veterancy on all his stuff. So
yeah,
and Pistol Pete hold.
Yeah, he does have disciplined in, and it's such a struggle because you do have the Skirm Goon Mass here with the Arquebusier, and then as well as the Keshik, but then you do have a couple of Step Riders that were mixed in Iron Flail, so it was making it difficult for that Skirmisher Mass to survive, and they got wiped out. More Dragoons now coming in. Vindian is kind of playing more with infrastructure here, and it looks like Platt is just going to continue to just put on the pressure on his side, going to go ahead and siege down this palace. And a town center was right there.
Apparently there was a town center going up in the middle of the battlefield. All right.
This looks very grim for Pete here, just because this TC is likely going to go down, and he has 22 idle, 46. Platt with 58. Now going H4 here with the engineer. It's going to give him a couple falconets, and they're just continuing to lay down the hurt. But Vindia now, oh, that was exciting. 3 and 5 falconets.
Oh my goodness.
But can he protect it?
He's gonna 8 falc their asses.
LFS now going in with hand mortars here and going to be doubling down with the old Han army. So more pikemen, more Chocanu. Skirm Goon Mass here from Pete's side. Pete.
What else does Vindy have besides? Okay.
Oh, Neftenia, Desert Archers, lots of light infantry here, which is going to be good into the China
I think
infantry.
I saw some core popping on the 8 falconets.
Totally safe so far. Hand mortar is now trying to siege down, but it looks like Pete was able to get a TC up here, and he has been macroing here for a massive amount of wood, trying to get his infrastructure back up. So with that, we have a huge score shift and swing with 8 falconets, and you would think that the Chinese death ball and that huge mass would have been able to push past, but Vidian coming in with the save. 8 falconets.
Something about 8 falconets.
Yeah.
Am I right?
And 32 vills on coin, so we'll see how they transition. And it looks like with Pete, as I was saying previously, is that he's gonna have to remass in terms of his infrastructure. So it looked like he had a ton of vills there, and he's got a few idols here that are now gonna go ahead and start building once again and trying to recover. But it looks like finding that extra TC. Did he have enough? Yeah, he's got plenty of wood though. So I mean,
so he would be safe to rebuild in Vindy's base right now. Vindy obviously with a massive score lead, 10k over both Platt and LFS over there. So
and they all see that he has these vills here. So I mean, it's gonna be a loss of tempo, and it's gonna rely a lot on Vindy being able to maintain his mass, and Pete does have some units out.
Get Pete back into the game.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Right.
And
If
he
he's
needs
able to
points.
sling some units over, yeah, needs a shipment point. He's got the wood for a town center and an outpost, and you start there, right? To work your way back into the game, start with a town center and an outpost and a military production building. Then you just kind of slowly work your way back in, get your bills back up, and it's possible as long as your teammate's able to kind of protect you. I think this is where walls might be handy. If you want to try and drag out the game a little bit longer, wall up and force your opponent to break through the walls to delay a little bit, as we see wolves, or nope, those are falconets.
Yep, still falconets stepping forward. He does have the flying crow, but not the best kind of unit. Taking heavy casualties, just throwing himself into this, and Vindin is looking very healthy. Conquistadors now coming in, guard conquistadors, and he's just got he's got such a varied composition. Cuirassier trying to get here on top of the Desert Archers, but he's got plenty of Gasquenia. Looks like the Royal Dragoons are trying to do a little bit of work on the Falconets. Hand mortars are now getting onto the Falconets, but still just heavy casualties. And like you said, it's that the goal is to get Pete back into this game. Who's floating plenty of resources. I mean, he can definitely be producing, but he doesn't have the pop space. He needs to be getting on the houses. He needs to be fixing up what he's doing here to get his score back and recovered. But that was a huge win on Vidian's part, fighting basically a 2v1 in that engagement. And
oh my god!
What?
No, Revolutionary France.
Oh my! Oh, look at that.
Oh, those look sick.
So a little bit of background for everybody. I have degrees in history. My focus was in World War One, specifically, but I mean, I would be remiss if you can't really understand World War One without French history. And I studied a ton of French history, and you can't study French history without the glory of 1789, the French Revolution, and look at having the sans-culotte in the game. I have a Phrygian cap that I wear that actually has the tricolor cockade. Looks like this hat. It's on my desk, and oh my god. I mean they were liberal fanatics for sure, and they like to kill people, and they will now do violence to you. These are the people without silk-kneed breeches, where their name stems from, and they are the leve en masse. You don't see Revolutionary France. I mean, it's so long that we waited for that to be in the game, and here they are. You don't really see them, and it's basically a Ville push. Look at these guys.
Oh, and they've got siege resist too. 40% range, 10% siege resist. So they're gonna survive some falconet shots. Shark.
Oh my gosh. I'm just so excited. The touch of yellow. What the heck was that?
What the hell was that? Oh, that was the smoke from the train?
I thought it was the flying crow, but yeah, I guess.
So many suns collide.
Look at that. And look at the cheeky Culverin taking out the falconets.
Oh my god. One falconet left. Oh, it just finally goes down.
I would say it would remind me of the first war of the coalition, in which the French population was levied to then just go and fight on the frontier against Austrian forces, but he's fighting with China now against Ethiopia in Texas.
Yeah, we're in Texas, dude. Come on.
This is fantastic. I mean, is there anything behind? Yeah, just even more. More Royal Musketeers coming in. Vinian just trying to mass again, trying to maintain what he has. Pistol Pete now trying to get into the mix here. He did get a Noun Center back exactly where it was before. His base has basically been repaired. Even more Dragoons coming in, but he's not up against a lot of cavalry, and it looks like it's just this beefy front line of rifles that are just here, and they're just going to keep pressing on you, and it's like they're not doing a ton of damage, but they're just a wall. It's just
I figured it out, by the way. That is the train teleporting from one side of the map to the other.
Oh, okay.
And the smoke effect just teleports with it, not invisibly.
Their siege is very good, 40 siege.
Oh my god. That's incredible. So all they gotta do is just stay alive, and
these are beefy units, 252 health. It's nothing to sniff at. And he just continues to. He's gonna get even more out of them. Taking a look. Yeah, he sent in Cult of the Supreme Being. That being Reason, by the way. Temples of Reason. Storming of the Bastille. Siege damage on armor increased, so that's where you're seeing that its siege increase and 40% range resisted. I mean, absolutely incredible. Factory, the National Guard. I love all these little historical references. Sister Republics, Reign of Robespierre, Madame la Guillotine. Oh my gosh, very exciting to see them. I know I'm getting distracted from the whole game here.
I mean, it's not looking good.
No, like, I mean, again, just like, yeah, GG, well played. I mean, a revolution just to kind of top it off, basically, just to be the key.
It was the straw that kind of broke the camel's back, right? Like, Vindian seems to be able to hold them off and kind of 2v1. You know, he had that 10k score lead for a considerable amount of time, and then the revolution came in, and it was, you know, okay, you can wipe my army, but how about my army plus 90 additional units that I didn't have before?
Right, right. And that's kind of the key to any revolution. But then with the French Revolution, it's, I mean, now your villagers are, I mean, these can still gather, right? They still can operate like normal settlers, but so it's not like they're becoming the kind of like a cheap military unit like we're revolutionaries, right? They're becoming, you know, these very healthy, obviously they have an upgrade card, but very, very healthy kind of unit. You looking at these stats, I mean, 304.
Yeah, those stats are
Look, I mean, the Royal Guard
plus
Musketeers, geez.
yeah. And yeah, of course, the Royal Guard Musketeers
70s.
being mixed in there with the 77 damage range shot, which I think, charges every 60 seconds, I think?
I want to say it's longer than that, maybe 3 minutes, actually, I think. But
someone in the comments could correct us if you got to this point in the video.
But a big thing has been also that Pete was kind of a little bit knocked out of the game there for a lull, and then the revolution just came in the right time. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the post game here really quick. Yeah, again, I mean, Vindian having the most resources is obvious, and then Pete,
No
unfortunately,
surprise to anybody that knows his play style, and then the guy that hit the hardest has the least resources. That's no surprise there.
And Pete with the least, just because he had that lull in the action there, and
exactly.
I mean, we're gonna see like just how insane. Like, look at how many units. I mean, China's just producing and just grinding you down. Even though losing the mass, I mean, you're still. But you know, Vindian had a huge play here. I mean, his efforts cannot be underestimated.
Go to team stats real quick. I'm curious to see. Like military unit count, but team instead of individual.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, the revolt is huge.
The revolt's what, yeah, I mean,
Spiked
honestly,
them
the
over.
revolt's what did it.
Yeah.
It prevented Team Vindian from pushing back after they, I mean, to be honest, they kind of had the advantage. They had wiped that force, and Vindian had, you know, an army to be able to kind of push in, and then the revolution came, and then the units are there.
Yeah, 8 Falconets, yeah.
That 8 Falconet defense was incredible.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, it's such a drastic move, but it will finish a game. And you don't really get to see the new Revolutionary France too often. Immediately. Oh, they look so good with the Frisian cap. Oh, man. That's so exciting. I love that. How many vills did he have?
98.
Yeah, 98.
No. 67. He made 98 of them totally, so he trained another.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, an exciting, I think, 2v2 for all of you. That was on the rank ladder, but ended up being an in-house. So lots of friendly competition within our little community. We hope that you guys enjoyed this 2v2. Commend both of these sides, regardless of win or lose. I mean, fantastic game. You know, definitely a healthy back and forth, and just fantastic fights along the way. Thank you so much, guys, for letting us cast over your game. And if you're enjoying the content, you like what we do, go ahead and please subscribe. We got plenty more coming on the way. Leave a like, help us with the traction, and go ahead and comment what you thought. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.